following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.
And hello there, everyone. Welcome to MRE Uno's continuing coverage of 2026 February Flurry. I love saying those words and seeing the winter storm there on the intro, sitting at 12 degrees with extreme cold conditions expected the entire day. But thinking warm thoughts here as we get ready to bring you coverage of the figure skating region. This is the round of 16. If you're in the States, thank you for waking up early to join us for this one, as we have a little international flair going on, as 5-seed MarbleCyde gets ready to take on 9-seed Telna. MarbleCyde representing the Netherlands, Telna representing Australia, one of 4 individuals actually that are in this tournament representing the continent of Australia. We're going to be getting started here in just a moment. Had a little bit of a snafu that has us starting a little bit later, but could have been a lot worse. We could have ended up having the stream that took place determining who one of these two will be facing off in the round of 8 here in the figure skating region. That took place about 3.5 hours prior. So we are getting ready here for a best of 9. And I want to shout out G-Man because been a while since I've done the calling of one of these matchups, and he left me a laundry list of notes in preparation for this matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and read off a bunch of the information that he was able to give me. So we'll talk first about the 5-seed MarbleCyde coming into this matchup. Currently the only player that has had a DQ win this season, but second appearance in the round of 16 in their career. Looking for their first appearance, though, into the Elite 8. Already mentioned, hailing from the Netherlands. One of 3 in this league that this season from the Netherlands, but the only one that is remaining in this bracket. Was on a prior stream, ended up beating another 5-seed in Nifty, handily 4-1. Playstyle rolls through the cards very quickly, and I love how in parentheses, G-Man said, like a marble. Likes to keep an up-tempo pace, not super quick, but definitely above average speed, so expect to see a somewhat rapid playstyle from MarbleCyde here today. And also was the 2025 meteorological, that's too big a word for me to be saying at 8:30 in the morning, meteorological May debutant of the tournament. On the other side of the table, we've got the 9-seed in Telna. Telna, as mentioned, hailing from Australia, one of 4 Australians taking part in the D2 tournament this season. Ended up defeating Vixity, who was number 8 seed, 4-0 in the round of 16, and then a 4-1 victory in the round of 32 over the number 1 seed in brii. Now, we do have a situation here that was listed in the notes and actually did come to pass. We'll be talking a little bit more about it in a moment, but D Lemon ended up winning the matchup earlier on today that occurred at 5 o'clock in the morning on the Eastern Standard Time. And due to that, if Telna is able to win the matchup here in this one, we are going to have Australia versus Australia in the Elite 8 matchup here in the figure skating region. It would actually be the second Australia versus Australia matchup of the tournament. Telna is one of the higher seeded rookies of the field. It is a veteran versus rookie matchup here today, but has been impressive in the through the first two matches. Has a calculated style, takes advantage of icing out the opponent on colors, whether through endurance runs or switching. And as mentioned, part of the rookie class. Currently, 7 rookies remain entering this round, still fighting to win that debutant of the tournament. Telna, so far, has faced all veterans, and today, facing off against MarbleCyde, will be no different. This is the first round for the best of 9s. It's been best of 7s prior. That we'll explain a little bit more in depth in a moment. It is the first time that either MarbleCyde or Telna have taken part in a best of 9 in their MRE careers. So we'll have to see how they adjust to that, as obviously there's a little bit more endurance with the addition of the added games in a best of 9 as opposed to any of the prior best of 7s. This tournament has been upset filled. Now that technically doesn't apply for this match, but for the perspective that there were 3 15 seeds still in the bracket entering this round, definitely shows that the underdog has been able to come out with upset victories. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll check the bracket here in a minute, I believe DeLemon, who is waiting in the wings for the future winner of this matchup, is one of those 15 seeds and advanced into the round of 8. 6 of 8 of these matchups this round are veteran versus rookie, including this one. And this round is a battle of the experienced newcomers. Also, this tournament has what is likely the strongest class of newcomers for a tournament since the start of Division 2. So, needless to say, much like what we've ended up seeing a majority of 2025 over in Division 1, the experience level is very, very narrow. Expect to see some really good back and forth with the gameplay here today. As mentioned, we had a matchup earlier on today where we ended up seeing Dia taking on Lemon, or I'm sorry, make that D Lemon, and this was the end result. D Lemon handily taking a 5-1 victory and ended up actually being one of the 14 seeds that moved on to the round of 8. So my apologies on that. I thought that D Lemon was a 15 seed, but a 14 seed, and will be awaiting the winner of this matchup here, either taking on a 9 or a 5 seed in the regional finals. Well, that's all the preliminary stuff that we have here in preparation for this matchup. I'm going to, real quickly, since both Telna and MarbleCyde are going to be typing out their answers here today, going to, in the chat, give them a preliminary question in preparation for this matchup. But mentioned it is a early morning here for us in the States. I'm from the New York region. My co-commentator is from the Michigan region. We're both in the Eastern Standard Time, so maybe both very happy that we're calling a matchup rather than playing a matchup. I don't know exactly how mentally awake he is right now, but want to welcome Tapir here, as he'll be joining me in calling this matchup here today. Tapir, for these two here, obviously, as we mentioned, a lot of international flair, but also an opportunity for both of these individuals to advance into their first Elite 8 here in the figure skating region.
Thank you so much.
Oh, did we lose him? Tapir, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, so it looks like we've got the answers coming in here. I mean, we ended up having in the preliminary notes, according to G-Man, this tournament has been the strongest class of the newcomers since the start of the Division 2. But this is the first time that both of these individuals are going to have to play a best of 9. You and I have had to make that adjustment before where, you have that mentality for a best of 7, and then instead of winning 4 games, you actually have to win 5. How do we expect to see these two individuals make that adjustment here? Is there going to be added pressure, or do they basically just kind of adhere to what they know and hope that, obviously the cards and maybe a little bit of luck falls their way? Are you there, Tapir? Your microphone is lighting up, but there is no sound.
Hear me now?
Yep, I do.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I was starting my opening statement, and then you just king. I guess.
Yeah, I think you're cutting out. It's like it's picking up the beginning portion of your sentence, and then it's cutting out.
Read the opening statement.
What was that? Because you cut out again. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here, folks. Just bear with us. Okay. All right, Tapir says he's going to switch microphones. So while he does that, real quickly, I ended up asking both of our competitors, told them congratulations on making it to the round of 16, but with now looking to advance into the Elite 8, how much would they be relying on past experience? Maybe a little bit of luck, as we know there is a lot of luck that comes into play when you're dealing with the distribution of ammo when it comes to the bot and everything. How much would they be relying on that to advance into the Elite 8 today? Eventually take on D Lemon. Telna says luck has been on their side so far, but in a longer series like this, expecting to see that tested, and like to think that the game sense that they've been developing will pull them through. MarbleCyde says, think it's going to be a really interesting matchup today. Luck is obviously going to play a big role, as always, with Uno, but think that they'll also be utilizing what they know to hopefully figure out a style that works for them today. Sounds like we got a lot more sound coming out from Tapir's side here. You got me this time, Tapir. Now we'll see if we get it figured out here. But just to remind everybody as well, this is the first of 2 streams that'll be taking place here today for Division 2. Later on this evening at 7 o'clock Eastern, it'll be the round of 16 for the curling region, as another 5 versus 9 seed matchup will be taking place. Number 5 seed Sky will be taking number 9 seed Holes. So a duo of 5 versus 9 seed matchups here on this Thursday. Or in the case there for Telna, I believe it is currently, I believe for Telna, it's currently Friday. I think they actually, about, what had it been, 40 minutes ago, I think they just crossed into Friday morning. All right, we'll try another mic check attempt here with Tapir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. Okay, we're good. We're good. No cutouts this time.
Okay.
All right.
I actually just do not have a mic. I'm just speaking right into my phone because this is ridiculous. I tried 3 different wireless mics, and neither of them worked. So
no problem. No problem.
I think we're good now.
As I say, technology is a beautiful thing when it works. But hey, we hear you, so we're good. So I'll
we call this a smartphone, by the way.
I sense the sarcasm.
Little bit, just a bit, just a touch. Anyway, we are live.
All right, good to go. Okay, so I'll ask you the question I was going to ask before. obviously, for both of these individuals, an opportunity to advance into their first Elite Eight here in D2. But you and I, we've been there. We know what it's like to go through a period of adjustment from a best of 7 into a best of 9. With those additional games and having to win now 5 to take this series rather than 4. Is that going to be something that they're going to have maybe some difficulty adjusting to? Or do you think that this is where they basically just keep the same mentality that they've had through the entirety of this division?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem, right? It's only 2 extra games. It will have to come down to if you're someone that has a high level of endurance, right? A lot of stamina, and also if your opponent doesn't, you can take advantage of that. Regardless, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. 7 versus 9. Now, if it was 7 versus 11 or 13, like we've seen in D1, that's definitely going to be an issue. But I think for 7 versus 9, you can really just sail right through it. So I don't think that'll be an issue. As I was saying in my opening statement, I haven't seen much of either player. I think I've only seen Marble once, and I don't think I've seen anything from Telna at all. So I'm really excited to see what tools and tips and tricks they'll get out of their bag tonight or today. So I think it'll be fun. I'm excited for this, right? We don't get a morning session, much anymore. We used to, but it's usually afternoon or evening, especially this early. The West Coast is just barely waking up as we speak, so
I don't think
it's
they've
gonna
got
be
daylight
a
yet.
good. No, no, it's not even 6 a.m. for those poor guys, but we're already up and at 'em. So, um, yeah, yeah, I'm eager to see what we come across today, and let's go ahead and get it started.
Sounds good. So this, of course, is a best of 9, which means that we will play at least a minimum of 5 games here. It is going to be the highest seed, which currently would be MarbleCyde, that will have the first 2 home games. Then Telna will get the next 2 home games. They will alternate 2 home games until we eventually get to potentially a final game 9, in which, being the highest seed, MarbleCyde will end up getting that final game call. We do have Gio as our referee, as let's take it down to the table and let's get this thing started. MarbleCyde will have the first call, with being the highest seed, and look at that, we're starting off there with a little double 1, little 11. Not too high, not too low, just kind of comfortably right in the middle.
Almost solidly in the middle for sure. Starting off with that green 4. It'll be Marble for the first attack today. Both players wishing well wishes to each other. One down to that green tray.
It's interesting when going through the pre-match notes that G-Man provided me with, mentioned about a little bit conflicting of styles. One a little bit more methodical, one a little bit more rapid pace. Could be interesting to see if they continue that style of play, or if now that there's really a lot more on the line, they've advanced this far into the tournament, if maybe they both adjust their play style a little bit. Here is our first double play, green reverse into a green 9 by Marble. Little ditto play there with the green 9. On Marble
Marble drawing
already.
there.
Yeah.
Our first switch of the game now. Over to red.
Bit of a bailout there for Marble, who had to draw on the green. The light switch into red, so Marble will be able to play into it.
Here comes the lemon deuce from Marble and a 0 sugar from Telna. Certainly riding the red pretty solid here. Not a lot of light switching as of right now. Both players down to the OG 7. Telna's got the PA here.
And Marble is iced out in red, so Telma firmly in control of this. However,
Interesting.
Yeah, apparently also out of red. Had to use the wild to swap over into the blue.
Desperate measures at this point. Marble okay with it, as we could expect with a blue 1 here. Telna 1 up this time.
All right, Marble will at least close in there with that double play, but Telma's still one possession up, could make it two, depending on this play here. Four cards left. I'm almost wondering with using that wild to get over to blue, maybe, yeah, that's exactly what I was
Ah, there it
wondering,
is.
if maybe had the +4 in reserve, and there you go, a quad to finish it out. Very quick first game victory for Telna.
Very true. Yeah, we see a lot how if you have multiple wilds, it's quite common to drop one of them and be a little looser with how your execution is instead of just saving them until you get that final run. In this case, we saw the way Telna had both wilds, playing the 1 first and then ending the with the chain using that +4. So usually that is sort of a tell, because what else can you do, right? Just keep them and hope something works. You kind of have to go for it at some point. So very nicely done.
It's quite a momentum game there for Telna as well. A road victory and also 11 card start. That's an immaculate victory. No cards drawn for Telna during the entirety of that. Just 11 cards drawn and 11 cards played. So nice sense of momentum there. Just a little under 3 minutes of game time. And I don't know. Is this? It's obviously a best of 9, so it's not really a must-win situation. But if you're MarbleCyde, you certainly want to get one back here on one of your early homestands.
Yes, definitely. We do say all the time, in situations like this, 1-1 is a whole lot better than 0-2.
Darn
So
right.
that's definitely Marble's number one priority at this point, is getting that tie back. We'll see if he can do it now as we head into game 2.
So Geo will load up here. Marble will get the call here once again. Now, do bear in mind that since Marble did not win on 11, that could be a number that they could call back on maybe later on in this matchup, but instead going to go with 8. So just a little over OG, just one over OG, and there is that OG number. So we'll start with the green 7. Second straight game that we're going to be starting in the color green.
Going right down to a green 3 now. Just see how long we stay right here in green. Especially with 8, Seth, you know that the colors, well, right there you see, we're going to go to red. We switched on red, I believe. The first game went from green to red as well. But right as I was saying, with 8 cards, your color situation is going to be a little less flexible because you just simply have less cards. So we're going to see how these players navigate that as we go to a red 7 now. Back to green from Telma.
Ooh.
Very strong ISO play there,
Yes, very
and it
much
does
so.
work.
I was wondering too if that wild, that red wild, if that was a tell card there by Marble. We ended up seeing Marble iced out twice in the first game, and I didn't know if that playing of the wild was to avoid having to draw back, or if it was maybe something similar to what Telna had done in the first game, having maybe a backup card and the freedom to be able to play a wild card. Obviously, we know now it was to avoid a drawback, as Marble will find a red 7, bring it back to red, and Telna is iced
That's
out there. So
crazy.
that's a two-color hand there for Telna now,
That's an
yellow and blue.
absolutely, because Telna tried the ISO play, it did not work. Marble top decked that red 7, I believe, because he was initially drawing, and so now it's going to be Telna on the back foot. Marble has the advantage with red. Let's see what Telna has as it is their turn, if they have anything that they can counter with.
Yeah, you got to think that if you're Marble, you want to keep it in red so long as you have the cards. If you're telling me you're looking for that one number to be able to break it open into either the yellow or the blue here. If you're Marble and you're able to establish the possession and have maybe a little bit of a cushion, then maybe you break it open like right there. So yeah, down to 3 cards here feels there's enough space to now be able to open it up to that third color.
Very true, especially now with the wide gap between Marble and Telna at 5 cards. Telna 8, Marble 3. Marble kind of feels, I believe we would agree, Marble feels comfortable, shall we say, in switching over to that yellow here. He's going to be down to 2 after that ditto. Possibly Telna's last chance to do anything.
Yeah, if Telna's
We'll
got
see
any
what happens
defensive
here.
card, might have to play it here.
Nothing yet. Marble at 2. There is a chance he can steal one back here and tie it up.
Let's see if he has a finish here with 2 cards left. Oh, there's the wild into the blue. I
All
almost
right.
wondered if maybe the last card was blue, but he does have the path to get there. Now the thing that Marble has to worry about is there maybe a +2 on the other side in blue for Telna?
Very true. Or possibly just another plain wild, because we clearly see Marble needs blue. And this would be the last chance for Telna. There it is.
Oh,
There it
good call,
is.
Tapir.
There it is. And see, that's what I was saying in that first game. The post game comments for game 1. Sometimes you just have to go for it, as Marble did with that blue. You really just can't sit on your hands all game and hope that it works out. Sometimes you have to take initiative. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Now Telna's got the advantage back. We just saw that triple play. Now we're into Draw City
Yep,
on green.
both iced out in green, but that just completely shifted the momentum too because now Telna's got the 1 possession advantage.
At this point, we're going to have to see who breaks out first.
It's going to be really hard to swap off of the 0. You're going to have to hope probably for either a wild or another number in green.
Very true, very true. Possibly, very small probability, but it is possible that we see a +2 drawn, and perhaps that's a chain that leads us to a different color. Look at
Whoa!
that! Look at that!
Holy cow!
That is a +12 right there, ladies and gentlemen.
That is indeed, and puts Telna down to Uno. So here's the problem though. Major offensive play, but you've given a lot of cards, potentially a lot of options to Marble on the other side. We'll have to see what the return is.
12 extra freshies for sure. Really, the only thing I'd say Telna has to worry about is the +4, because we've already gotten rid of one of the +2s now that MarbleCyde just played it. We do see that +4, so now Telna's got 4 extra freshies.
So at least draws Telna back away from the brink of Uno, but Marble still stuck with 16 cards to have to work against here. And smartly brought it back to green there, did Marble as well. No greens on the return, so Telna iced out, and Marble can try, well, I'll use a Marble pun, start chiseling away here.
Fizzling away, yes, absolutely. Yes, cool card. I wonder how that is. I wonder why that is Lavina.
Yeah.
Ditto play on the red 9. If I'm not mistaken, that is the Scars red 9 right there. 0 sugar now. Up to the red 6. Taking a look at the table, Marble still has a lot of catch-up to do. Telna still with a massive lead.
Yeah, Marble just trying to get back down into the single digits. As, a swap over by Telna. And Marble will bring it into yellow instead. Telna down to 2 as we remain in yellow. Now Marble's got to start thinking what those possible colors are that Telna has left for those final 2 cards. We know at least one of them is, or that we know that at least they're not green, and now we know that they're not yellow.
Yeah, those are the kind of tells you can gather as your opponent plays cards, but we'll have to see what the culmination is here. Now that we're in the yellow 3, back to blue.
Ooh, finds an out from yellow. Let's see if Marble can find some way to maybe bring it back to yellow or into green. There's another ditto play. I believe that is our 4th ditto play so far here in these first 2 games.
Certainly no shortage of them for this series.
And
Telna's
Telna
drawing
is
now.
out. So we know at least what those last 2 cards were. Obviously both in red.
Still keeps going. Marble with the advantage here. Taking that advantage to do another double play now.
Great patience there by Marble. It was up to, what was it, about 18 cards at one point, and has been able to now whittle it down to have them locked even at 4. Telna will take the possession advantage here by being able to play the blue 2, but Marble exercising a lot
Certainly.
of patience there, not panicking, and has made this a game once again.
Coming up on the 10-minute mark. Going back to red here.
Yeah, that's the color that Telna wanted about 2 minutes ago. Oh, and apparently
Oh my
Marble wanted
goodness
it as
gracious.
well, but look at that, a wraparound into green. Telna was iced out earlier, but that was before doing a couple of those drawbacks. Let's see if Telna was able to get any green along the way.
Way down to the main floor. Green 1. Marble still hanging in there. It is now deadlocked. 2-2.
Telna does have
Seth,
the
I
play
have to wonder.
advantage.
Very true. I have to wonder right here. Marble got those 12 extra freshies. Is he saving? He is not. A +4.
Ooh.
But he's going to go with the 6 yellow 6.
Gets the light
6
switch
yellow.
over. Now the question is, does he have yellow to finish, or is he relying on number efficiency? Let's see what Telna does here. Did they maybe get a top deck lucky draw? Oh my!
Oh! Steals it right out from under
Wow!
him. And Telna does get that 2-0.
It had to have been either the +2 or the skip on that draw, I would think. That is
For
a
sure. For sure.
crazy top deck draw.
Incredible.
Gonna just real quickly find out what that last drawn card was. It was the +2. Wow. Talk about a top deck to be able to chain together that trifecta to close it out. And now, you mentioned it to Pierre, better to be locked up 1-1 than to be going in 0-2, especially when you had the first 2 homestands.
Very true. Yeah, it's going to be tough for Marble now trying to catch up. Now that he's down 0-2. However, if we want to take a look at those stats here, Telna's got the +2s locked up 4-0. Also has the reverses, 4-2. Marble has the skip advantage, but everything else is locked up, so we do say all the time how that pendulum might swing back in Marble's favor.
Certainly
So we'll
could.
see if he gets that. We'll see if he gets that advantage here as we go into game 3.
Marble had a yellow skip as well, so both actually had the yellow skips between the two of them in those final few cards. Well, Telna has the advantage right now, has some good momentum, and has the next two homestands going to go up from 11, which has been our highest, now to 12. Going to start with an even dozen for game number 3. Marble trying to get a game back here, keep this series close. All right, red sounds good. Appreciate everybody that's here in our watch party observing this matchup here. MarbleCyde, Telna both looking to advance into their first appearance in the round of 8. They know who their potential future opponent is going to be, as they'll be taking on D Lemon, who earlier on this morning was able to defeat Dia 5-1. The number 14 seed advancing into the round of 8 here in the figure skating region. I'm not sure what it is right now, but the trend is we are destined to start in green. This is the third straight game that we have started in said color. Quick light switch over into yellow by Telna, and we'll run in that color, at least for a little bit here. MarbleCyde saying he likes that card, so we've got both. We've got Lavina's card there, we've got Marble's card there. And has to draw on that card. Never mind, I don't like it, he said. Opinion changed real quick. Looks like we've lost. Oh, there we go. Telna going to play into the yellow further here with the yellow 2. With 12 cards, you could probably have quite a bit of ammunition on the initial start, so we'll just have to see on both sides how long they hold onto it, if indeed they did benefit from it, as Marble iced out in yellow. Finds the out into red, however.
Very interesting here.
Telna will go 1 down into the red 8. Had a little drawback there from Marble as Telna was getting down to what we designate the red zone, was down to 6 cards, but now we'll draw it back closer here, 8 and 9 in favor of Telna.
Going to be Telna with a red 4 now. Marble switching to green.
That brings it back to the original color. Let's see, who did the switch off of green initially? It was Telna who swapped it over to yellow. Telna will play into the green here. Might have been on a couple of the drawback cards potentially, or might have had green in reserve. We've seen players fade off of a color, but still keep a couple of cards of that said color just in case there is a return to it. Another ditto play. I think we're up to 5. Trying to keep count in my head here.
I lost count like at 1.
Telna finds
Switch to yellow here.
yeah, finds a swap. And Marble says
Double
thank you
play.
very
Plus 2.
much.
Tit for tat here.
Yeah, you mentioned prior to this game how Telna had the plus twos kind of wrapped up statistically. So far, Marble's fired back with 2 plus twos in this third game. Ooh, and Telna finds a way back to red, ices out Marble, and then breaks into green.
Effectively giving Marble one card for no reason. Just here, have a nice day.
And Marble will kind of negate that drawn back card with a double play. Into blue, and I
Over to blue.
believe this is the Pandora's box. This is the first time this entire game that we've gone into the fourth and final color.
Telna really making the rounds here, taking massive initiative. Have to see what Marble does here as both players are locked in 4-4. Marble drawing, giving Telna additional advantage. See what he does with it.
Gets it down to 3 with the playing of the blue 2. See what Marble's able to do on the other side here after that one card drawback.
Here we go. Marble taking the first 2, 3 left to go.
Could this be a finish maybe? Taking his time, making sure he gets it all in. Oh, not
It is
quite.
not.
Got it down to check. There was a +4 in all of that as well in that quad play. So 4 cards on the return to Telna. Now let's see what Telna's able to do to maybe bring Marble back from the brink of Uno.
Telna very quickly taking a look at their holdings now. Maybe mapping out a plan of action here. See what happens off of this green 1.
It's like Telna had an initial plan. Reconsidering here.
Fair bit of analysis from Telna's point of view. And goes with a color switch over to blue. And it works.
It was the right call. Marble iced out in blue. And now Telna can start seeing if maybe can start whittling away here, start closing the gap back up here. The more cards they play and the more cards that Marble draws back, it'll even it up more than likely. Another ditto play there.
Effective draw too, because Telna already saw Marble couldn't draw on or couldn't play on the blue 1, so give him another one for icing on the cake. Marble's still out here.
For the possession advantage, Telna will swap it into red.
Gives Marble a break. And back to being tied 3-3. Telna dropping down to 2.
Another ditto
The
play.
red Marble going up. Telna expanding the gap here now.
Marble nice now iced
Potentially
out
at
in both
finishing
blue
this
and red, it
point.
looks like.
And there it is.
There's the finish.
Telna running away with this match. 3-0.
Man. +4 is coming in big here at the close. Got Marble down to Uno. But you have to wonder if maybe, just maybe, we always talk about the risk of the return on the +2s and the +4s. You got to wonder if the +4 from Marble may have given that finishing +4 to Telna. Oh, wow, no. Had the +4 from
Wow.
the start. Holy cow.
Holding on to it through 8 minutes of gameplay.
That is...
Just decided that it wasn't the right time to play, and effectively chose the perfect time to play.
Not very many Uno players would have held on to the +4 that long. That's some really, really good foreseeing there by Telna. And now up 3-0. This is looking eerily similar to what we ended up having in our earlier matchup today when D Lemon ended up actually taking the first 4 games of the series. Right now, Telna on pace to maybe do the same here in this matchup, and they've got home field advantage once again here, and they're going to go with 9. So interesting here, to appear that we haven't necessarily yet seen anybody delve into the cellars for the card start here. 8 so far has been the lowest card start we've had in these first 4 games.
Yes, for sure. It's actually very telling, right? When you have the OG7 be on the low end, and neither player wants to actually delve into that 7. They're more comfortable with going 8 through 12. It is a very common uh, approach, if you will, for these games, is to go in the middle, 8 to 12. Nobody really wants to go very low. Nobody wants to go very high, unless you're someone like we see Captain likes to go low, and we have players like myself that like to go high sometimes, go a little dabble in the full send. But it's like a bell curve. A large majority of players like to go into that 8 to 12 range there, and that's what we're seeing here. So we are going to see now with game number 4 how this 9 start works out for either player. Marble needing some catch up here to get catch up to Telna at 3. We're just about ready to start that game 4 with a red 5.
He said he needed ketchup,
So,
so the game's like, all
yes,
right,
catch
here's
up
red.
on the yes.
Be the first game that is a non-green start. So Telna looking to go up 4-0, which would put them at match point effectively, with only 1 game left to go. Love the tomato emoji.
Absolutely. Of note, I should say, if Telna wins this next game at 4-0, it'll be very hard for Marble to climb back, especially not forgetting Telna still having that power play for that power play lock on game 5.
No, you meant
Marble is going to be in a sort of a sudden death situation here, having to do a lot of catching up.
venture over into the yellow. You mentioned when we began here, not a whole lot of prior experience with these players. I've had no experience of observing these players at all. It's a difficult situation for Marble. We talk about, obviously you can hindsight's 2020. You could go back, look at a couple of plays that maybe should have been different, but then also the luck factor transfers in as well. Have you seen anything here in these first 3 games that Marble might have to make some type of an adjustment in their play style, or has it just been maybe just a little bit of bad luck on all 3 exchanges?
I do think a lot of it has to do with luck because remember, we saw those top decks from Telna really just sealing the deal at some point.
Hmm.
Marble, I wonder if could be a little more aggressive at this point, whether it be like we just saw color switching or maybe playing wilds more. But it is been Telna trying to just be patient and hoping the cards work out for them. So we'll just have to see really how the luck factor holds up for Telna or if it switches into Marble's favor. Here we now have a blue 4 on the table. Marble responding now with, look at that,
Whoa!
a
There's
double
an
play
answer.
and taking the first game. That is aggressive. Yes, you have proven my point. Thank you very much.
That is exactly the answer that Marble needed there. Gonna get a game back here, make it a 3-1 series, and a very important victory in terms of the timing as well, because as we get ready to head into a game 5, the pendulum now shifts back to Marble in getting the next 2 homestands.
Yes, definitely. We're gonna see if maybe Marble can pull off that miracle 3-0 upset and tie it back to 3-3, making it an effective best of 3 to finish off.
Field effectively wide open there for Marble. 9, the only number that they weren't able to choose, so they're going to go 1 up with 10. So, yeah, to your point, Tapir, the comfort zone for both seems to be in that higher mid-tier to the upper tier region. We haven't seen anyone venture up into the 13, 14, 15 full send range yet, but I feel like as we start to get into deeper waters, we may end up dipping our toes there eventually.
Certainly, yep. We're only about halfway through, so I think the desperation level for both players will start to increase as we get into the later stages of the match today. We have a red 6 now on the discard pile.
So Marble does
Telna
not play
having
off
the
the initial
response.
+2.
Definitely, yep. Close the door on that one. Telna immediately switching into the yellow 6. Marble filling it up with the yellow 9.
Again, a reminder to everybody, appreciate you tuning into our early morning stream here on this Thursday. Later on tonight, 7 p.m., we continue the 2026 February Flurry Division 2 tournament. We'll be in the curling region for the round of 16 as number 5 seed Sky will be taking number 9 seed Hole. It'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Little trips play there from Marble.
A little bit of an advantage now. Up 3. Telna playing a catch-up advantage here. Lagging behind just a little bit now. Gonna play it cool with the yellow 1. Okay.
Need to
Nothing to
remember as
speak
well,
of yet.
we haven't talked about it at all, but you'll notice that on our scoring pile on there on the top of the screen, underneath each one of the names, it says PP with a 1 after it. That's power play, which means that a player can basically essentially skip someone's turn, can be a huge, huge momentum shifter depending on the situation of a game or a series. Both have that in their hip pocket here in the early stages of this tournament.
Telna is going to cancel out Marble's triple play with one of their own. It's going to be now Telna with the possession arrow, giving that up to draw, going back to tied at 5 each.
Marble finds the ice there into red. We'll continue to run it, looking to draw Telna back even further.
Telna now with a response, looking to make this 4-1 series. Marble looking for 3-2.
Telna's been extremely lucky on the top decks so far here in this series. Can they find another one potentially? I'm assuming they have a play. We haven't seen a drawback here quickly. Ooh.
Going to be a blue now. And Marble's okay with it for now. Blue 5. Telna perhaps having the finish here. I am going to
Maybe.
go out on the limb and say maybe coming from behind.
Let's see. 4 cards. Be a quad finish if it happens. And there it
There it is.
is.
Look at that. It is going to be a 4-1 game. This is going to be match point.
And Telna still has the power play as well, so if they find themselves just lacking that one card, that one missing link in the chain, may be able to utilize it as soon as this upcoming Game 6. Again,
Taking
though,
a look at the.
you have to think,
Go ahead,
looking
Jeff.
back there, it could have been the blue wild, but then you look at that chain at the end too, the blue skip, the blue reverse, the green reverse. It could have been one of those three cards that ended up being the top deck draw there that led to the eventual finish.
Yes, very true. We'll see what happens here. Could be, like you said, any of those cards could have just connected what would have been unconnected cards into a chain, a playable chain. So we'll see.
So there you go. Telna
Draw
just
was the
said that the
green, red.
top deck
Yeah, go
draw was
ahead.
the green reverse.
There you are. Yep. And sometimes, right, you just at some point you just have to go for that one special card, and that was what Telna ended up doing, playing that blue wild and then saying, all right, I'm going to go for it and hope it works out. And it did end up working out. So that's going to be Telna's fourth game win for this match.
And now MarbleCyde's got some decisions to make here. Gonna have the homestand. But do we stay in this upper tier region? Do we maybe try and go for broke? Go for the full send right here? We're going to go to the OG. So our lowest card start going to be the OG 7. Let's see what happens here. Both players still have the power play available. Telna, you have to think the power play is going to be utilized fully offensive. Marble, depending on situation here. If they get the right cards, they could use the power play offensively, but they might have to consider using the power play defensively to keep this series alive, too.
Yeah, definitely, because it's only good for one. Power play is only good for one, and if it's going to keep your series alive, your tournament alive, might as well use it. The Marble playing it cool for right now is going to draw Telna going to green here on the green 7.
Well, the player that's waiting in
Still
the
thinking of.
wings for their future opponent of this series, D Lemon, ended up defeating Dia 5-1 earlier on this morning. Telna looking to do the same here in the second matchup of the day. Could potentially end up seeing a 9 seed versus a 14 seed here in the figure skating region in the round of 8, depending on the circumstances here. But Marble is still not out of it. Scoreboard looks daunting, down 4-1. But we've seen it before, Tapir. We've seen reverse sweeps before, so you never count anybody out
No,
in Uno.
you don't say. That's crazy.
We've both been on the receiving end of it.
Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever reverse swept anyone
I've
in this
never
league.
reverse swept anyone. I've been
I
reverse
didn't.
swept.
Yeah, yeah, no, I wouldn't have any experience being reverse swept. What loser would have that happen to them?
The wounds still run deep, huh?
Bah. I just lie awake thinking about it every now
Yeah.
and then, knowing I kickstarted someone's career. I was a scapegoat for his success. Anyway, back to the game. Over to
Yeah.
yellow here, effectively being an undercut from Telna's green. No, rather, that was a light switch, marble drawing. So Telna once again taking an aggressive approach here.
It looks like both a little bit more aggressive on the light switching here this
Definitely.
game.
I think I think realizing now that desperation on two fronts. Number one being Telna desperate to close out the series, and number two, Marble being desperate to keep it alive. So we definitely have ramped up the aggressive approaches for this game here. Marble being okay with the yellow after Telna draws.
Yeah, just checked real quickly on the stats here. We haven't talked that much about aggressive light switching prior to this game, but Telna almost a 2-to-1 ratio in the switching of colors in these first 5 games to Marble. 29 for Telna, 15 for Marble.
And to add on to that, that's a rather large, even combined, 44 switches after only, what is it, 5 games. So that's an incredible ratio to see. So certainly been a explosive, shall we say, explosive series so far. Telma taking another card, and Marble giving the break onto red.
Now down to
Let's see
2.
how Telma responds. It might be a situation of Marble now saying, I'm going to go for it and being aggressive in that approach.
Telna will just play into it.
Marble's going to have to find something here.
So you have a
If
knockout
not
blow.
now, then at some point during this game.
Ooh. Be interesting if he
Real
has
sugar.
both reds at the end. I like this call. Putting himself at check with the 0, tough to switch off of.
Definitely. He may be very comfortable in his approach. Ooh,
Oh!
Telna now with a wild yellow. And that was a good call here. Good call there from Telna.
Boy, great plays from both right there. If indeed it was 2 reds left for Marble, one of the few cards that could combat that red 0 was the wild, and now looks like we're going to go into... I think this is our first draw city. How has it taken us this long to get to this point?
For just the game or the whole match? We did have one earlier.
Oh, did we? Oh, okay. I must have
We
missed
did,
it.
yeah. It was a game 3 or 4, I believe. We were draw city in green. Short, but still there.
Just passing through.
Marble breaking it now with the yellow 4. Yes, just passing through, staying overnight. And I do want to take a moment to mention how, oh, hold on, hold the phone here.
Whoa!
Telna taking incredible, another plus 12. Marble deciding to stop right in his tracks.
Yep.
Marble's
Telna was
going
at
to hang
9
on to
cards
that.
left, and that was definitely looking like a run to the finish.
Marble now stopping Telna dead in their tracks, potentially trying to build off of the chain that has already been set up for him. Does have 14 cards, so I don't foresee a finish, but perhaps a couple of plus 2s of their own are in order here.
Yeah, if anything, I mean that was a plus 12 right there with the stacked plus 2s. So Marble may have gotten a bunch of ammo on that return and now can use that. And as you said, stopping Telna in their tracks. I mean, that would have been a crazy 9-card finish if Telna had been able to play that all the way out. Good use of the power play there by Marble, pretty much, maybe essentially saving this series.
I do have to wonder, however, just in the back of my mind, if that was a game-saving power play. Well, rather, game-saving run to the finish by Telna. It would make sense. It would stand to reason to use the power play just to burn it and prevent
Mmm.
Marble from using his.
Was that a
I
was that
wonder if
a
maybe that was not the finish.
yeah, was that maybe a ploy to try and draw out the power play?
Very possible.
Hmm.
Um, Telna with an incredible advantage, having Marble use his, Telna still has theirs.
Oh, wow. Telna was iced out in yellow and Marble's going to break them out. Well, thought they were with the light switch, but Telna's also iced out in red.
Marble seems to have the advantage here, still playing cards, forcing Telna to draw, so Marble still trying to keep the series alive and doing a good job at it as of right now. Double play takes him down to 7. Telna's still sitting at 12.
Telna looking for that number efficiency and we'll find it. Light switch off of the red into green via the 5.
Marble's fine with it, going to green now. Green 3, 2 down. Telna needing to find something else. Going to be a ditto here. Is that like the 7th or 8th ditto we've had today?
I I think we're approaching double digits.
Okay, wow, there you go. Green 8. Green 8 here from Marble. Green 6 now. Marble with a response. Draws.
So Telna out
Have to,
in, I believe, red and yellow. Marble out in green.
definitely have to start wondering if maybe we're approaching a two-color game here. Certainly they're juiced on green in some capacity.
See if Telna will remain in green. Try and keep Marble drawing back. Maybe has something here for a double play. Maybe a light switch. Let's see. I mean, I would assume now, as Telna will get that light switch over into yellow. I assume now that the power play's been flushed. You still have yours and you're up 4-1. It's full court press now if you're Telna.
Absolutely. Put on the gas. And we'll do exactly that now with the switch over to blue after a quick stop in yellow. Telna with trying to keep the pressure on. Marble saying no thanks and gives +2 over with a double play.
I believe this is the color right here for both players, just based off the indication of the colors that they are respectively iced out and that they would have the most flexibility. So we may stay in blue for a while here.
Marble, of course, representing a rather strong hand coming out with the ammo early here. Telna trying to find something now after those extra 2 cards.
Yeah, we've seen when Telna gets hit with those ammo cards, you go back to, I think it was game 3 when Marble hit them with that +4 near the end. They kind of took their time, looked at what they had, and then played accordingly, formulated a strategy, kind of the same deal here. It took a little bit of time before playing that blue 6 after getting hit with the +2.
Definitely. Yeah, you don't want to risk missing an important card in your hand that perhaps you'd prefer to play over anything else. Definitely want to reassess your position whenever you get extra cards. Here now with a blue 1 on the top of the deck by Telna, and Marble responding with 0 sugar. So we are solidly in the basement now.
Marble down to 3 cards here. Telna will make the swap over into green, which was one of the 2 colors that Marble was iced out in, green and red. So there you go. There's the drawback. Something interesting here. We were talking about, did Telna have a run to the finish when they were at 9? Saw a lot of ammo cards being played on the front portion of that before Marble hit the defensive power play. We've not really seen any more of those offensive cards being played here by Telna. So the question is, did Telna initially have them and is holding on to them, or as we were wondering, was that maybe just a ploy to try and draw out Marble's power play then and there?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now exactly what happens from this point forward. Going back over to yellow now, does Marble. Telna looking for an answer here, as they are once again forced to reassess the situation. Lays down a yellow 9, closing the gap momentarily. Marble drawing closes the gap even further.
Surprising there. We knew Marble was out of green and potentially out of red. Might have drawn back some reds in the last couple of draws there, but I thought more than likely was going to be 2 suited in blue and yellow, but iced out in yellow as well. Ooh, look at this though. Nice wrap around into red.
Very nicely done. Triple play there into the red 8. Haven't seen red for a little fair bit here. Been a hot minute.
Well, it was red
Definitely
that
should be a situation where they can get some of those discards out. Telna using a power play. This could be it.
6 cards left. Is this to take the game, to take the series?
Looks like a finish. Looks
There's
like it
all
is
that
over.
ammo that might have been stored up on the tail end of that
No.
run prior.
Up there it is.
Oh, there
Okay,
it
yep.
is. Yep. Wow.
And Telna takes it down 5-1.
Second 5-1 victory so far today. Another upset here in the skating region, as a 9 seed will take down a 5 seed. Telna able to handily take this series 5-1 over MarbleCyde. Crazy series. They're gonna find out here from Telna their thoughts on getting ready now to play against D Lemon, who now knows who their opponent is going to be here in the round of 8. First appearance in the round of 8 for Telna.
I'm just excited to reach the regional finals. It's going to be Australia versus Australia for the figure skating title. That'll be cool. Gosh, that one. I feel so mean baiting out that power play. I was going to draw otherwise.
So it was a ploy to draw the power play out on the other side.
Well, it was exactly 4 cards, but yeah, I was drawing anyway.
We ended up seeing as well, you ended up having a lot of luck with the top decks there, specifically in a couple of games, that one link that you needed to be able to get to the end. Both you and Marble mentioned in the preliminary question that I gave you guys that you were definitely expecting luck factor was going to, in some way, factor into this matchup. Talk to me about that because obviously, when you end up having something like that go your way multiple times in a series, it's got to build your confidence for the upcoming fight, right?
Yeah, to some extent, like the top decks are always just going to be a huge part, getting that missing link. To another extent, like on average, like what 1 in 3 draws just about are going to be action cards, and like if you've got enough, like if you've got enough like links floating around that like most of what you draw can connect to something, then like it's going to work out, right? That's the way I tend to look at it anyway. I just connect, I just set up as much as I can, and then get those draws going on when I need to until it connects.
Talk to me about the mentality. Obviously, now making your first appearance in the round of 8. How much pressure were you feeling coming into this matchup? How much relief is there now? And do you think the pressure's just going to ramp up as you get ready for your upcoming fight against Lemon?
I mean, Mabo is being hyped up a good bit, and with good reason. Like, he's not a bad player by any extent. Yeah, I mean, we're halfway through the tournament now in terms of the rounds, and it's definitely just going to get bigger and bigger.
Well, Telna, congratulations on advancing here in February Flurry. As you now make your first appearance in the round of 8, as you mentioned, Australia versus Australia with you and D Lemon, going to be a lot of fun to watch that matchup. Congratulations once again on your series victory here today, and best
Thank
of luck
you.
continuation of the tournament. Well, it's appeared definitely a very competitive matchup here. We ended up seeing a lot of, what we end up talking about, the different facets of Uno that you have to bring to the table. Yes, you have to have the skill. Yes, you have to have a little bit of luck, but we also saw a lot of patience exemplified by Telna as well. I mean, I go back to holding that +4 at the very beginning of the game, not using it till the end. A lot of patience shown there, and a lot of times we ended up seeing that be a turning point in a number of these games.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? Cut out for a second.
Oh, no. Okay, no problem. I was just saying, we ended up seeing, I think one of the big things that we saw here that helped Telna end up winning this series was there were key moments of these respective games where we saw them exercise patience, and that ended up being a timing thing that ended up shifting the momentum in their favor several times.
Oh, absolutely. Um, Timing really is everything in games like this because we see even with situations where you give a plus 12, 12 extra freshies if you stack on plus twos, sometimes that just doesn't always work out. Yes, you can give your opponent a whole lot of cards. The problem is you're also going to give them a whole lot of ammo. So we do talk all the time about how you simply cannot rush a win in games like this. If you think you're going to burn all of your ammo in the first 5 turns of a game and expect it to work out come the later stages of said game, most of the time it is just not going to work out. So your best bet is going to be staying patient, staying uh, disciplined, and then you're going to have a lot more success. And so I think that's a lot of what we saw today. Telna obviously doing an incredible job taking down Marble 5-1. Marble, of course, having his moments as well, right? We saw some times where he was aggressive when needed to be, or maybe passive, let Telna just draw back a little. Either way, Marble definitely setting the stage for what should be an incredible career. I do see a lot of promising aspects from both players. I'm also looking forward to Telna's next match, right? We're staying in the Outback with Lemon being from Australia as well, so that should be an exciting one to witness come the next round. So, once again, congratulations to Telna taking it down 5-1. Really met my expectations for what I think this match was going to be. So, very excited to have been a witness to that.
Absolutely. Well, Telna takes down their third straight veteran here in this tournament, still making a clear case to fight for debutant of the tournament in what has been a very impressive rookie class. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this matchup here today as Telna takes down MarbleCyde 5-1. We'll face off against Dilemon in the round of 8 here in February Flurry. Again, we do have another matchup that will be streamed later on this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's another 5 versus 9 seed as Sky will be taking on Hole in the curling region. But we thank you for joining us here for the first of our 2 streams here on this Thursday. Again, our congratulations to Telna. Thanks to Tapir for joining me on commentary. Gio for being our referee. I'm Seth Cole, and we'll see you guys later on this evening as we continue on Division 2's 2026 February Flurry Tournament here on the MRE Uno YouTube channel.